Hello there, and we're back again. This time we're gonna look at how to use different scales and modes to create melodies. So, I've been picking out some of the most common scales and modes, like the major and minor scale, as well as Dorian, Mixolydian, and Lydian, for example. And I've been playing the scales once so you can hear what it sounds like, and you can see the notation, and then I've been improvising and creating little motifs and melodies and themes with them so you can hear what they sound like when applied to music. If you want a very basic introduction to modes and scales, you could check out the cinematic music, the essentials. So let's start pretty basic and dive right into it. We're gonna have a look at the major scale, which should be familiar to most people. Here it's played in C, and this is what it sounds like. This is a scale everyone should be fairly familiar with. It is the foundation for a lot of Western music, and it sounds fairly uplifting and happy, and fairly bright, so it's a good choice for when you want fairly standard and happy and uplifting sounding melodies. This is a little theme I was playing on the piano when playing around with this scale. And under all the examples where I've been playing around with the scales, I've been putting a little atmospheric drone thing on the root note. So the root note of the key is fairly distinguished or fairly well established, so it's easier to get the context of the scale. So without further ado, let's move on to the Dorian scale. And it sounds like this. Now this is one of the modes, and it is fairly close to the minor scale. It's just that it has a major sixth instead. And this gives it a bit more of a fantasy, mystical vibe. So this is a little theme I was playing around with on the piano with the Dorian scale in D. So the Dorian scale has this more dreamy, fantasy-like quality that can be good for these kind of themes. Now the next one we're gonna look at is the Lydian scale, which is from F to F on the keyboard. And the Dorian scale, by the way, is from D to D on the keyboard using only white keys. And the F to F on the keyboard using only white keys is gonna give you the Lydian scale, which sounds like this isolated. Let's listen to the theme I made with it. And the Lydian scale is fairly close to the standard major scale. It's just that instead of the normal perfect fourth, it has an augmented fourth. And this one as well has a bit more of a fantasy, mystical, dream-like quality. And it's a very common, actually here in Norway, it's a very common scale in Norwegian folk music. Let's move on to something that's a little bit more common in film scores, and it's the Mixolydian scale. And this one is also fairly close to the standard major scale we used to. It's just that instead of major seventh, it has a minor seventh. So this one has, at least to me, a fairly adventurous vibe, and it's used in a lot of themes from, for example, Treasure Planet, if you know that score by, I think, James Newton Howard. So let's listen to a little theme I made from it, but first let's check out the scale isolated here. And the theme I made with it. Now this instrumentation kind of gives it a little bit different vibe than it would have had, for example, with horns, so let me just quickly do a little staccato thing here. So there you see more of the adventurous vibe it can get. Because it has that uplifting major vibe to it. It's just that the lowered 7th step, which is not a major anymore, that if you play normal major, you can feel that the feeling kind of changes. Then. So this one is a really good one for more adventure fantasy soundtracks as well. Now let's move on to the A to A on the white keys, which is basically just a natural minor we're used to hearing. And isolated, it sounds like this. Basically just a normal minor scale. From A to A on the piano using only white keys. And this is a little jam I had on the piano using this scale. So now we've been through most of the most common scales and modes, but there's one interesting one left that I thought I'd get into this video. You also have other modes like Locrian and Phrygian. Phrygian is from E to E on the piano and sounds like this. And Locrian is from B to B, the white keys on the piano. But these are not as well known or not as commonly used, so I haven't included them in this video, but feel free to experiment with them as well. But one that is very interesting is the Phrygian dominant, which sounds like this. It's used a lot for more Middle Eastern mystical sounding things. So here's the scale isolated first. And I've been playing it from E to E here. Now, this is a little jam I had in that scale as well. So that's some of the most commonly used modes and scales. And I hope this video has been helpful, and if you have any questions regarding these scales, feel free to send me an email, leave a comment here, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But I hope this has been helpful in showing you some of the ways you can use the different scales, and I wish you good luck in experimenting and creating themes with these scales. I'll see you guys in the next video.